you guys doing today? You are tuning into About This Love podcast with myself, Dale, my wife, Charel. We are in the Baltimore area.
Today, we just wanted to come to you guys and introduce, this podcast to you. We sat down, Dell and I had sat down and put together this series called About This Love to shed some light on those difficult conversations surrounding relationships. Most likely you've heard like our promotional commercials and was curious to see what we were really about on here. And if you haven't heard them, then you found yourself listening today. We're glad that you've tuned in. So, Dill, what was the reason why you came on or you wanted to sit down and...
Well, the reason why I wanted to do the podcast is I wanted to shed light on relationships. I know in today's world of social media and reality TV, they don't really paint a positive picture of African Americans as it relates to like being in a positive or thriving relationship. So that's why I wanted to do the podcast. I know for myself, me and my wife, there's conversations that we always talk about if we watch reality TV, and the times that we have, it's always like, wow, why are African Americans always seen in a negative light as it relates to like relationships? There's always got to be like a guy that's married who got a side chick or a baby mama or a mistress or a woman that's married and got to have a side dude. It's never African Americans painted in a positive perspective on social media or reality TVs as a whole. Now, you do have some. I don't want to make it seem like you don't have any out there, because you do. But as a majority for African American cultures, it's not too many relationships that you can say that are positive, or at least that the media or paparazzi haven't found dirt in the background.
Or we could, haven't found dirt or just basically given it. Because it's in the media, it's like, how many of those relationships do you actually see in our lives? And I mean, they're not very many because, for various different reasons. And we just dive into some of those reasons, from our own personal experience, from, what we've heard, or just sitting down and talking to other couples or other people, close to us, seeing relationships from celebrities and just trying to put things into perspective and, give ourselves a little bit of reassurance. Because even if, you're married or unattached, it's like you still need reassurance. And even our friendships, our day-to-day friendships, relationships, people we encounter, and how we put those things into perspective, our family, the dynamics, with our children, and things that just kind of left us questioning, like, what are we doing? Or how did I end up here? Or, are we really friends? Like, what's the legitimacy of this friendship? Like,
yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
I know when me and my wife got married, one of the things is that me and her speak about a lot is that we noticed a shift and a lot of the relationships that we thought, people that we thought we were close to or whatever. And I mean, who knows? Maybe there was some hidden animosity there that we didn't know about, or maybe there was just something going on in their own personal life that that they hadn't shared or hadn't been able to share yet. I mean, who knows? But I know for us, we definitely recognize the shift, and even in our own family members, it's like, wow, I thought you would be happy for me, or I thought you would call and say congratulations, or I'm happy that you are married. And some did, but some didn't, and some of the ones that you were very close to, you're like, man, I thought so-and-so, I thought he or she would have called and said, I'm happy for you. But it's like, as time progressed, I think the reality of it is that you become aware of just the shifts and different relationships, and just how you have to begin to
maneuver.
Move going forward, and that's fine. I mean, it's all good, it is what it is.
To give a little bit of background on Dell and I, we had just celebrated our 1-year anniversary this past February 2018. So we go back to, when we first met and started courting in 2015, the later part of 2015. And then It was later part of 2015, babe.
Well, we started courting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and we got engaged summer of 2016,
Yeah.
August to be exact.
Yeah, August 2016, and from there on, we had planned, the wedding details in those short, was it 6 months?
Yeah,
Yeah,
6 long months.
it was 6 long months. Especially trying to plan a wedding. It's fun, but it is very
It's a
stressful.
lot of work. Yeah,
Yeah, it is a lot of work, and we did a lot of things out of pocket to save on cost, and we really did look to our family and friends for that support. And I will say it truly was, I'm truly grateful that, to look around during that time and to be surrounded by the many different relationships that we did have in that time,
yeah.
before getting married, to look around the table at my engagement party and see just all these married women who are happily married in different stages of their marriage, being able to pour into me, advice on how to keep pushing through. And I'm like, keep pushing through. I'm not even married yet.
Yeah,
So, I mean, I think that right there was a wake up call for me. And I stepped back and I was like, wow, like, I'm truly blessed to have these relationships, that's not only surround me, but, the husbands. So Dale, so what was it? When we
oh,
we went out a week before you went out, right?
yeah, yeah. Oh,
And but no, so we're celebrating. Well, the women had surprised me with the wives had surprised me with a um engagement party, something really really intimate, which at my favorite restaurant. And so Dale had actually, I was telling him how great it was, and he was kind of envious a little bit, if I could say that. And it was like, oh well, I probably should do something. I should go out. And lo and behold, I knew that their husbands would actually be, taking him
it
out,
surprised me.
and surprised him.
Yeah, my spiritual father, Amadi. It was a big surprise.
Somebody you look up to as as a spiritual father and a mentor.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, so I just thought it was hilarious, and I just thought it was truly precious, that we were, not only me, but he was also surrounded by the same relationships, just on the husband side, and they were able to pour into him and help us navigate, through these through
difficult times.
through these difficult times of like friends falling off, people not showing up, people showing out, before the marriage even began.
Yeah, it was interesting because some individuals that were supposed to help for the wedding, I won't say no names, they decided not to show up at the last minute. He was like, man, like really, like I mean,
And these were like go hard friends, like, ride or dies.
I don't know about
Like
all that.
you can call them cry. I mean, well, I know I've called, several of these friends crying
they had the
sometimes.
appearance of go hard, ride or die friends, but
But
that was not what
either
it
way,
was.
I mean, I still have love for them. But once again, and this is the conversations that, my husband and I have, and we actually, throughout this year of our marriage, we have been placing things in its proper perspective so that we're not left disappointed or heartbroken because somebody couldn't give us, what we put them on that pedestal to give us. They just don't have it to give, whether it be time, emotional space. We have to remember that they have things going on in their lives too.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
yeah, but also, um, how we had to navigate individually through those relationships, and also together into building our relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah, even with our siblings, just, remembering to put those things all into perspective. And there's no love lost for friends that have fallen away or have taken steps back. But we're just thankful to actually open up our conversations to, to you guys who are tuning in and listening, because these are probably conversations that you've kind of been looking for. You're kind of craving that and seeking that, and realizing that nobody really wants to talk about it, because in this world of social media, it's this glamorized, this false filter over our lives.
It's a facade.
Yeah, this
People put up a facade. So you're thinking that someone's really in love and really like having a good marriage. When if you actually personally know them on a personal level, you're like, man, this is. If I didn't know you, I would think you was out here, living it up and happily married. But it's like that's not what it is at all. It's interesting because my wife she actually watched she had us watch a movie Emily Goes West. And
Ingrid
basically,
Goes West.
Is that what it was called?
It's Ingrid Goes West. You always making stuff up.
I apologize, but and basically the sum of the movie is about basically people posting pictures on social media, and the people who see the pictures think that they're living a good life. But it's like, nah, I'm just behind some little.
No, you gotta give better. He is so horrible with explaining stuff. You know how like men just kind of cut to the chase.
Let me finish saying what I'm saying.
All right.
Basically, what I'm saying is like I can set up my house to have a beach background and say, hey, I'm in Hawaii, and people are like, oh my God, you living a life. It's like, nah, actually, I'm just.
That's called.
I'm just like in my house with a beach background, and I just posted a picture saying I'm in Hawaii. So it just gives off a facade that a thing is what it's not,
Dale, actually, you must have missed that. That was a hashtag, the Bow Wow challenge, like a couple years ago. You actually missed that. So, I mean, I know you're not on social media that much, but it was a hashtag Bow Wow challenge. But even before Bow Wow, posted that picture of him, I guess, supposedly being on a private jet, and then later on, a fan had seen him
right, coach,
riding coach. I mean, shoot, you got to go where your money takes you, but at the same time, like you did kind of. I mean, we all know what you were trying to do when you posted that picture of you trying to fly out on posted a picture of a private jet, just saying that you like it. Like, we knew what you were trying to do, and that's okay, but. But people have been living their lives that way even before the Bow Wow challenge. So, I mean, so you're absolutely right, Dale. You're absolutely right. Like, I could be at home and just in the way that I angle things and put things out there, I could be looking like I live this great Hollywood life. I mean, so that's why I really enjoyed the movie, even though the main character Ingrid was like very awkward. It was so awkward. I had to cover my face. I was like, don't do it. No, don't do it. But, the heart behind it, I mean, even though she was a stalker and she seemed kind of psycho in some ways, she was extreme. But I felt like at the end of the day, she's seen a life that, she wanted to live. She had just lost her mom. And I mean, I'm not sure if it would be a spoiler alert if you didn't see the movie. And, we're not promoting the movie, but this is just something that I just kind of make my husband watch with me these crazy movies.
I fell asleep on it.
I mean, but he was cracking up at this movie.
Yeah.
But so, the main character, Ingrid, and a quick synopsis, she basically sees this life she wants to live. And because these girls are posting so much every moment of their life, it's like she can follow along. She could go to the store that you got your dress from and buy that same exact color. And, she could go to this restaurant and eat the same exact things that you ate because you posted it, you're updating every moment of your life, so to speak, or at least all the picture taking worthy moments. And, she was pretty much like following in these other young ladies' footsteps. And she ended up meeting one of the young ladies by going out west and going to the places that she went to and basically taking on her lifestyle, like traveling behind her according to her post. And so, I mean, the heart behind it, like I was getting to earlier, was that she wanted a friend. Like, she wanted that lifestyle because it seemed like they were so much better off. But really, she wanted a friend because it seemed like they were living that good life. And if you don't know how to get that, I mean, don't you surround yourself around people who have it? Like those marriages I spoke about earlier. I searched and searched years and months before I got married for solid relationships, solid marriages, because every time I turn around, these hashtag relationship goals, which we talk about in our next episode here on About This Love, this hashtag relationship goals, they fall away. And then it's like, dang, like these celebrities, I thought they were going to be together. They're a power couple, what's going on? Like,
And just to give a little bit of insight, one of the things that I did appreciate about a lot of our friends and family members who are married is most if not all of them told us straight up, look, marriage is beautiful, it's wonderful, it's glorious, but it's hard. Like
yeah,
just so you know, it's hard. It's not an easy walk. It's not gonna be a cakewalk. You're gonna have great days. You're gonna have great nights. You're gonna have lots of great sex. There's gonna be times where you don't have no sex. I mean that's just the reality of it.
wait a minute, kids, please exit the room now.
But just on a serious level, because I think oftentimes, like when you look at relationships goals on social media or just reality TV, like one of the things that I'm always wondering when I watch things like that is like, well, how's the person's background? Like, did they grow up with a father? Did they grow up with a mother in the home? Because oftentimes I think we look to people who are motherless, fatherless, never had a positive role model of a mother or a father or a husband or wife, and now you want to be a good wife or good husband. Like, how do you do that? But through trial and error, if you haven't had those examples in your life, like how do you successfully do that? It's like, how do I successfully
Yeah.
build an airplane if I don't know anyone who's a airplane mechanic or airplane engineer? Like, how do I successfully do that? I do it through trial and error, and I think so with
Well, more
us.
error than,
Well, yeah, more
more
error
error,
than trial.
without those positive role models. Yeah.
So I think for us, our hope and our goals for About This Love podcast is just to promote, positive, thriving relationships, and just to give people insight on how to get there, and just again,
And give hope.
like my wife said, touch on those subjects that are difficult for people to touch on, and just know that my number one priority in this is just to progress the culture, to
Well,
progress the culture. Yeah, yeah,
our number one priority is to what, Dale?
progress the culture.
Progress the culture, really spread more love out there, into the social media realm, into the world. I mean, all we need is love. Love is love. But what does that look like?
Yeah.
Hey, babe, what does love look like to you?
Well, a wise man always said to me, well, he didn't say to me. He asked me. He said, "What does love look like?" And basically what he was saying was that he was asking him a true question. He said, love unseen is not love at all. Love is actually not tangible until we make it tangible.
Wow.
When I how do I love my wife? When my wife is sick and needs me to care for her, or needs me to ask me to get her gas in her car's on empty, and she has to be to work the next morning. Like, that's love. Like, that's what love is tangible once I make it tangible. But until I make love tangible, it's just a word. It's a word that means absolutely nothing.
That we throw around too loosely.
Yeah.
We do. Like, oh, I love this taco. Oh, I love this shirt. I love this car. And then something new comes by. I think we do have that tendency, if goes unchecked long enough, we do have that tendency to do that in our relationships as well. Because I mean, that's all we see. And I mean, our generation, we're, mid to late 20s. In our generation, we do that, you know, I think it was a couple of Love and Hip Hop seasons ago, when I was really hard on Love and Hip Hop. One young lady said, these popcorn microwavable,
Relationships.
females. No, she she called them something else. But these females, personalities, you got all these popcorn relationships. And so I was like, wow, that's actually true. It's so instant, it's microwavable, they're here one moment, and then they're gone, because that's how quick it is. As soon as the 1 minute 30-second timer go off, it's done.
Yeah.
And so I mean, honestly, if we think back on even before we got married, we could think back on some of the relationships that we tried to pursue. It's kind of like, dang, well, where are they now? Like, and I mean, aren't you glad that they're gone? Because there was no substance, not really, not until you actually dive into it. But of course, we're going to get more into that in, more of our podcast, more of the coming episodes of, what we actually classify as a relationship, and, how well do we really know a person,
Yeah, most
Well,
definitely.
can I answer my own question, like what I think love is?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I agree with what the wise man told you. Like love, is what is unseen. And so because I think I grew up in a time, and I'm not sure about anybody else, but I know I grew up in a time where it was kind of like do as I say but not as I do. And I heard that like almost all the time throughout my teenage years. And I'm like, do as I say and as I do. And it wasn't just for rules and it wasn't just for rules and discipline measures. It actually was for, um, like I don't think I got hugs often or got kisses often, just certain ways of affection that was normal. And I'm a very touchy feely person, but that whole mindset of do as I say and not as I do, that transcended um just my teenage years, and that also transcended just the disciplinary factors, which I mean it was kind of sad. Like it kind of took me a step back a little bit because I realized getting married, and even when I tried to get serious with anybody else, I really did have a hard time with affection. So love to me, love to me has become something different than it was prior to me, courting you and meeting you, and so
Can you
it is the unseen things.
can you be more practical for those out there who
Yeah,
like want
yeah.
a practical example?
Oh, of course. More practical. I was getting there, but more practical. A more practical way. It's not just the gas in the car. It's just the you look nice today. You know, just those day to day things, and not just flowers on Valentine's Day. Oh, this is the one day out of the year that I have to tell you I love you. It's what, you had a long day, and you're on your way home from work. Let me get dinner prepared and kind of straighten up, because I know that when you come in, you will appreciate these things. Or let me just call you, and even something even more simpler. If you don't like cleaning the house, let me just call, my boo, and see how you doing today. What are you thinking about? Like, I missed you. Or even a text, but ultimately,
Yeah,
a phone call.
yeah. I'm thinking about you.
Yeah, oftentimes I do call, my dad, and I say, hey, you hadn't called me in a while. It could have been like 5 days. And I'm like, well, you hadn't called me in a while. I just wanted to hear your voice. And I got that from my dad. He used to say that to me. I was just like, oh, dad, like, whatever. You don't want to hear my voice, whatever. But I mean, I miss his voice
Yeah,
sometimes, and not a lot of people get that, to hear, someone's voice, especially those who they love. And why not say it now? When you can. When I think about you, I'm going to call you, or, reach out through text and, hey, I love you. I just wanted to hear your voice. I wanted you to hear me and hear that, you know, I'm solidifying this relationship with you. I'm solidifying that I'm thinking about you, that I love you. You are on my heart, you know,
yeah.
and
No,
that's the unseen
yeah, yeah.
for me.
It's funny you say that because one of my um well, best friends, childhood friends, who I won't say his we call him PJ. Name is Paul. I won't say his last name, but
Good.
every time I come home, which is North Carolina, he'll drive down with his family, which is his wife and 3 kids, and it's about a 2.5 hour drive. Like every time I come down, like he'll if I just call him, I'm coming down. I'm like, dang, So for me, I mean, we're both adults now. Like we have our own families. For me, I was like, I always think about that. Like, man, that dude really loved me. And when we wife got married, he drove down from Carolina.
He drove up.
You drove up. Yeah, I'm sorry. He drove up from Carolina. And for me, it's just having those friends that, and I'll say, put that out there. Like throughout the years, we don't really talk that much, but it's like if I go home for the summertime and let him know, he's there, or if he gonna be close to where we live at, say somewhere in Virginia, we live in Baltimore, like, yo, I'll be there. I'll be there. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? But it's like it's those actions that people do that let you know that, hey man, look, I know we don't talk that much, I know we don't kick it that much, but I love you. You know, when you
I'm
come
gonna
to
go the
town,
extra mile.
exactly, I'm gonna go the extra mile,
Okay.
drive 2-3 hours. Me and my whole family, like me and my wife and 3 kids. It's like, wow, that's
We
love.
gonna pack up the van. We gonna
That's a
load up the
friend.
van.
You know, that's a friend. You know, that's not somebody relationship that I take lightly, because he after years he's always there. You know, and I just, you know, to me, again, when I say like love and friendship, I'm referring to a person like that who's bringing their whole family. Like, you 3 hours away, I'm driving to see you. Like, I don't even care. It's like that's a friend. You know, or if you're in need of something, they're there, and you don't even have to say why you need help, or how much money you need. It's just, hey, there you go, man. Don't even worry about it. You know, that's a friend. So I think for a lot of us, just relationships, in general, about this love is like, well, what is a relationship, and what's a healthy relationship, and what's it look like? You know,
Yeah, and what does love look like? Because we gave our examples of what we seen that love is to us, but what could love be to others? And of course they have all these books out, like the different love languages, and that's all we have for you today here on About This Love. Once again, follow us on About This Love on Facebook, Instagram, and Mixcloud. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.